My name is Lauren Zayu. I've been working on elections and campaigns for several years now and have seen more than you can imagine. From city council races to congressional campaigns, I've done my fair share of media appearances, op-ed writing, and on-the-record experience. Normally, I'm writing words for other people, but this year, you'll be hearing directly from me. I'm starting a new podcast called Unbossed, Unbothered, and Unfiltered, where we're going to talk to real people to see how this election's messaging is being received and where it's lacking. I hope you'll join me on this new adventure by following Unbossed, Unbothered, and Unfiltered on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Hello and welcome. My name is Lauren Zayu, and I'm absolutely honored that you're here. You're listening to Unbossed, Unbothered, and Unfiltered, a show about how real people are feeling about this election and the issues that we're paying attention to. This first episode is going to give you a little bit of background on me, the show, and what I'm hoping to accomplish by talking about the 2020 elections. I say elections because while all eyes are on the presidential race, there are some really important down ballot races happening as well, and I hope we get a chance to dive into them. But first, a little about me. Again, my name is Lauren Zayu, and I'm originally from the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. I am the second of four, a cousin to more than I can count, and an in-law to even more than that. Family is really important to me, and I hope that comes through in this show as well. I attended Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia, and then went on to receive my master's from American University in Political Communications. Since I graduated, my resume has been a blur of campaigns and nonprofits working for people and causes that I believe will change our country for the better. I've worked to get candidates elected at all levels of government: local, congressional, statewide, and even federal. Working in communications and messaging has shown me that it really is what you say and how you say it. You've probably heard my words just not coming out of my mouth. But this time you'll be hearing directly from me as we break down the most important election of our lifetime. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I live at the intersection of creativity and planning. So while the guests may change with each episode, I definitely have some norms that will be followed, and I'm going to break those down for you here. Norm number 1, no white supremacist, misogynist, patriarchal, homophobic mess. This is not the space for it. I don't tolerate it in any form. It will be called out. You will be blocked. And because we have to say these things directly, that even includes the comment section. Norm number 2, no self-deprecating humor. There's plenty to make light of in the world right now. And in the midst of a global pandemic, there's no need for one of those to be yourself. We're in a space where we need to be kind to one another. And for me, that means not making yourself a punching bag in order to make other people laugh. Norm number 3. No slander overall, but particularly in regards to President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Beyonce. What is slander, you ask? Slander is an unpopular opinion not rooted in fact. We always have room for critique, nuanced perspective, and challenging ideas. We don't have room for outlandish conspiracy theories more invested in degrading people's character than providing insight. Assuming those norms are taken seriously, I offer the following emphases. 1, critique and correct in love. This isn't one of those shows where I bring on a bunch of people who agree on everything, but it also isn't a place where people are brought on to rip out each other's throat. If you disagree, that's fine, but I don't want anyone to leave here feeling like they were disrespected. Number 2, offer ideas and give space for response. The purpose of this show is discussion. Discussion means other people get to talk too. Your ideas can be challenged here, and you should feel free to challenge others. But in order to challenge, we must listen and engage in earnest. And finally, number 3, believe the best about each other. Look, it's a rough time in the world at large, and with the exception of Senate Republicans, I really believe everyone is doing the best they can. There's no reason to question the motives or intentions of anyone here. Okay, now that we've gotten that handled, I also want to talk to you about the way each show is structured. Like everyone else in the world, I am a major Beyonce fan. And while I definitely don't have the money to play her music on my show, I've named each segment after some of my favorite songs to convey what I'm thinking. Segment 1 of each episode, after general pleasantries, of course, is going to be called School and Life, where we walk through the connections between the guests and I as far as major career moments for them and why I wanted them to be a part of this venture. This show will feature some of my favorite people from across disciplines to have a comprehensive conversation on these issues. So what they bring to the table is going to be pretty important. Segment 2 will be called Hold Up, where I want to give space for an issue that the guest is concerned no one is talking about or isn't getting enough perspective. There tends to be more issues than airtime these days. So I want them to bring what they wish we could focus our attention on. Segment 3 will be called I Ain't Sorry, where they tell us something they refuse to apologize for. For me, that means believing Black women. But it can be anything they want within reason. And in a space where so many people refuse to commit to anything, I want to hear what people are standing behind unapologetically. Segment 4 is labeled Drunken Love, where I want to hear something that they are completely consumed by. I want to give space for a rant or an ode that maybe they wish they had gotten in earlier in the segment and weren't able to. And these will be followed by their drink of choice. This show is definitely a passion project of mine and birthed out of a concern and a trend that I'm seeing. 2020 has been a doozy of a year. Between COVID-19, the civil unrest, police murders across the country, and other countless tragedies, people are confused, scared, overwhelmed, and looking for answers. And it's clear they are not coming from the White House. The vacancy in leadership during some of the most trying times in American history has been vast and wide over the course of this presidency. As a Black woman, I am nervous about Election Day and the days following, but I also know that this election is probably the last one for a long time if the wrong name is called on election night. I want this to be a safe space for historically marginalized people to express their concerns, desires, hopes, and fears about this election. I know it's been overused, but this truly is the election of our lifetime, and there is too much at stake to stand on the sidelines. So I want to use this platform to make sure the historical record reflects that we were here, that we stood up, that our lives mattered, and when it was important, we put them on the line. This show is my resistance. It's my refusal to let them decide who I am, the choices I have, or whether or not I have a voice. It's my legacy when my children or grandchildren, God willing, ask me about this time. It's my patriotic duty in full effect. America has never been perfect and needs to do better in so many ways. But to do better, it has to exist. And we have to be here. And right now, both of those things are at stake. So consider this the altar call to action, or whatever phrase is needed to mobilize you. And I hope that you join me in resisting as well. Thank you for engaging this first episode of Unbossed, Unbothered, and Unfiltered. I hope you decide to join me on this adventure. If you want to keep up with Unbossed, Unbothered, and Unfiltered, you can subscribe to the Lauren Zayu YouTube channel or follow @Lauren Zayu on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you'll participate with me.